Hello you beautiful beings. I've got 23 books to haul and show you guys and chat a little bit. I have been on a low buy this year, and that mainly was tackling my book buying habits. And to be honest, I think, it's May at this point in time, nearly the end of May, and I think I've done quite well, especially when you consider that the books that I've got here today have either been like a big bundle price through Vinted or have been purchased quite affordably from like Asda. But the majority of these, like one was gifted, some of these are ex-library books that were just gonna go to the charity shop, but I thought, oh, I've been having my eye on that, let me try it out at home. So yeah, really my book spending habits have calmed down, I think, so I'm quite pleased with that. And this is the amount of books that I've accumulated over the last 5 months, really. I think there might have been a time here and there where I had like a couple of books to share, and that would have been on my TikTok, but I haven't sat down and done a proper lengthy book haul on the YouTube channel, I don't think. So we're gonna probably try and go in like ascending order from the oldest to the newest. I'm going to start with some books that were, I think, donated at the library. They were just found, and we don't accept donations, but I thought I would try these because I've been wanting to for a while, and hey ho, they were there. So I've got a volume 1, 2 and 3 bind up of Naruto, which is, I feel like, a classic at this point in the manga anime world. I have never sat down and read it at all. I think I've watched the odd anime episode here and there, but not in any particular order. So yeah, this is about Naruto, who is going through his ninja journey and the friends he makes along the way. I feel like everybody knows the story of Naruto at this point, at least on like a base level. I have our 2 volumes, I think it's literally volume 1 and volume 2 of Jira Jira, and these I have seen floating about for the longest time, but I didn't actually know what they were about. So this is volume 1 and this is volume 2. I love the green and like bronzy gold striking cover of this particular one. It seems like the story of this is it follows an eclectic bunch of random characters that end up developing a love story, a friendship, and has quirky adventures with each other. So hopefully I enjoy this. I've got at least the first 2 volumes to sample and try out. I think this one has a anime adaptation, so if I'm not like super invested in the manga but want to kind of see how the story unfolds, then I guess there's always the opportunity to continue on via the anime. So the first of the books that have lived its life on the shelves and is quite battered and bruised and was going to go off to the charity shop, and I probably would have just hunted for it to get myself. This is The Haunting of Hill House, and this particular edition is the Netflix TV show cover, which I tend to stay away from. I don't really like movie or TV show tie-in covers, but I don't think this one's too awful other than the non-removable sticker on the front. But yeah, I've heard that The Haunting of Hill House is completely different because my only experience with it is through the Netflix adaptation. But I hear that the Shirley Jackson original story is much different to the TV show, so I'd be interested to see how they compare, how they contrast, because I really enjoyed the TV show. I equally enjoyed The Haunting of Bly Manor, which came out like the year after or so, and I eagerly await news of potentially more in that director's universe. I know they did The Fall of the House of Usher, which I've still yet to watch, but that was inspired by one of Edgar Allan Poe's short stories, I believe. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let me just read the back because I think I'm misremembering. Something is at work in Hill House. When a group of troubled people come to stay there, they begin to experience things they cannot understand or explain and are forced to confront their darkest fears. So I think this one follows people that are unrelated. They're not like connected at all, and I feel like there's a doctor who's studying them rather than in the TV show version where they're a family and they've got weird memories of growing up in this house. So yeah, as I say, I'll be interested to see how this diverges from the story that I know. I've been learning more about like the line of spirituality that I am interested in, and for me that's been Buddhism as well as witchcraft, but in particular with Buddhism. My friend got me the graphic novel manga version of Nichiren, and this is basically the story of sort of how Buddhism came to be. It's during the samurai era of Japan. It says a long time ago, when samurai ruled Japan, it's a period of great disaster. Society is in turmoil, yet those in power turn their backs on the misery all around them. Buddhist priests enjoy great influence among the rulers, who use religion as a way to control the people. Both care more about money and power than helping the suffering masses. But when a young priest challenges the authorities, showing the way to bring peace and happiness to society, they will stop at nothing to silence him. So I love how it's kind of packaged as an action adventure manga story. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this. Books I believe I got like around maybe January, February time, and I think I got them in W.H. Smith. So I have the first book of, what is the series called? The first book of Gods and Monsters. This is the Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole. So I believe this is dark fantasy romance, and from what I understand, we've got our main female character who's in servitude to this monster demon called Caden, and she's tasked with finding this like god enemy monster, the world ender, to like take an ancient relic from him. But it seems like they're kind of forced to work together for a greater threat, and I think there's probably going to be a romance between the two. But I'm looking forward to this. I haven't heard a massive amount, like I've not gone looking for a lot of reviews, but from what I have seen, like organically, people have been enjoying it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. And I also picked up this other one that I hadn't heard anything about, and I'm a little bit uncomfortable seeing the name that's on it now with everything that's come out. But this is Hope Merle's Lud in the Mist, and look how stunning that cover is. It's really beautiful, like botanical and whimsy, and I believe this is like a retelling of a story of legend. It says Lud in the Mist is a prosperous country town situated where two rivers meet, the Dal and the Dapple. The Dapple springs from the land of Fairy and is a great trial to Lud, who rejects anything other, preferring to believe only in what is known, what is solid. Nathaniel Chancellor, a dreamy, melancholy man, is deliberately ignoring a vital part of his own past, a secret he refuses even to acknowledge. But with the disappearance of his daughter and a long overdue desire to protect his son, he realises Lud is changing and something must be done. So it says it's a Shakespearean tragi-comedy, and I think that's where I got the like retelling vibes from. So yeah, it looks really stunning, and I hadn't heard about it at all. Even now, I haven't really heard any reviews or anybody talking about this. Next couple of books were essentially free. These were the World Book Day picks, and they had a couple good ones on there this year round. So we have Kieran Millwood Hargrave's The Wolf Trials, which is from a larger series. The first book being In the Shadow of the Wolf Queen, the second being The Storm and the Seahawk, and I believe this is kind of like an in-betweeny story set in that world. And then I've also got Benjamin Dean's This Story is a Lie, who also wrote The King is Dead and How to Die Famous. So this one follows Harley Matthews, who is used to fading in the background, but all of that changes when he's chosen to compete in the Rising Stars program for gifted and talented students. Harley's world is soon turned upside down and he's thrust into the school's limelight. And when he finds a chalk outline of his body drawn at the bottom of the school stairs, he has to face the reality that someone wants him out of the competition permanently. So it sounds like it's going to be like a thriller, YA thriller vibes, sort of murder mystery, but potentially without the murder happening yet, you know. Yeah, it says keep your friends close and your enemies closer, and I just love like the design of this, the locker, the school vibe. It looks really good. Okay, The next book is one that I also picked up in the works when I was getting these for World Book Day, and I think I've got the audio book for this borrowed out from the library as well, so I'm probably going to do some blended reading. But this is A Cruel Thirst by Angela Montoya, one of the brands that I sometimes do book tour reviews for. Here Are Voices had a book tour running for this one, but I didn't have enough time at that moment in time when they were hosting it to join in, so I'm glad that I saw this relatively soon after it released, and for £3 as well. That's brilliant. Of course, it's vampires, it's romance, I think it's like romantasy, and it's set in like the 1800s, I want to say. So we're following Carolina and Lalo. Carolina is hoping to join her family trade of vampire hunting. She's trying to do that instead of becoming a wife, which is kind of more the traditional route for her family. She doesn't want that lifestyle. She wants to hunt vampires, and they're currently plaguing her village. And Lalo is of course a vampire, and I believe they're going to have some sort of run-in, some sort of angst and romance, and that's probably going to throw everything that Carolina believes in or thought she ever knew out into the air when she probably falls for him. So yeah, looking forward to something like that. I do love a breezy, sexy romance. I say sexy, I don't know if this is actually YA, so it might not be sexy, but it might just be like that that I always say yearning, you know, which is a feeling that I love to feel. Another new release is this one. It's so cute. A customer at the library recently said that they were reading it and they were very much enjoying it, and it is The Baby Dragon Cafe by A.T. Qureshi. I'm not gonna lie, it's just the cover that got me. I don't actually know anything about it other than what I'm assuming from the title and the cover alone. This was an Asda buy, and I think it might have been like £3-4, maybe £5 at the most. So again, another for me affordable purchase. I wasn't sad parting with that. So we're following Safira, who opens a cafe for customers with pet baby dragons. She isn't expecting it to be quite so hard to keep the fires burning, but her young dragon patrons keep incinerating the furniture, which means selling coffee isn't covering her costs. Oh, it's gonna be like a cozy fantasy. Local heartthrob Aiden is a gardener, though his disobedient baby dragon is a major distraction from his beloved plants. However, Safira's cafe gives him an idea. He'll ask Safira to train his dragon and pay her enough to keep the cafe afloat. They know they're the answer to each other's problems, but happy-go-lucky Safira and gorgeous but grumpy Aiden couldn't be more different. Can they find a way to work together and maybe even ignite some fire of their own? I think that's so sweet. I'm looking forward to reading this. I think it could be like an any time of the year kind of read. I don't know exactly when the book's set, but I just imagine curling up with this like in the autumn or something, although I'm gonna try and get to it sooner rather than later, as I say with every book that I bring into my collection, right? So this next stack of books, I think I might have paid £40 for them, for 3 hardcover beautiful books. I was debating buying the first book because I'd already listened to the audiobook version, but I didn't feel the need to purchase that, so I asked if I could just buy the 3, you know, admitting the other book. And that to me was, you know, renegotiated a new price, and I was quite happy with that. Like I made like a little bundle sort of thing, and that was on Vinted. But these are the Mortal Enemies to Monster Lovers series. The book that I had already listened to was Slaying. No, I need to get that one. I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5. They've recently brought in Asda Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, and I keep forgetting if I've read it or not, and I haven't, but it's because it's got a different cover to the ones that I've got that I'm thinking about getting it or not. The one that I read was Slaying the Shadow Prince, which seems like it might have been the more recent one. It's last on this list, but then again they might have all come out together at the same time, because to be fair, they're all written by different authors, and they're basically, as the title says, they're mortal enemies to monster lovers. So we have Claire Sage's Slaying the Shifter Prince, and look how stunning like these covers are. These are beautiful. So this one in particular, they're all like sort of like forbidden romance, fantasy sort of vibes. This one says at the bottom, it's full of claws, curses, and a deadly game of cat and mouse. This twisted reimagining of Beauty and the Beast is perfect for fans of A Court of Thorns and Roses and The Cruel Prince. I can't remember if they've got anything underneath the cover. Oh, they do, and I don't know if I saw this. I think I must have seen this. How stunning. Even like the naked dust cover, just the naked hardcover, is stunning. I love the colours on this one. And then I have Slaying the Naga King by Jessica M. Butler, and this is how this one looks. This one says, Beauty and the Beast with scales and twists, this monstrous but sweet love story is perfect for fans of Radiance and A Court of Thorns and Roses. Are they all going to be like Beauty and the Beast vibes? I'm not sure, but this is gorgeous. Let's have a look how it looks underneath. So this one's more like a purple kind of vibe. Oh, it feels really nice as well. Stunning. I don't know what kind of editions these are. They kind of feel like, they feel very luxurious, but they feel like they could be indie publication, like indie printed. But they also feel like really beautiful. I don't know. And then the last one I have is Candace Robertson and Elle Beaumont, which is strange because it's the smallest book, but it's got 2 authors. I don't know why that intrigues me. And that's Slaying the Frost King. And that looks so stunning. I love the Aurora Borealis. Aurora Borealis. Oh my god, I can't say it now. The Aurora Borealis in the background. This one doesn't actually say like the vibe, but it says he's the Frost King, she's his sacrifice, a cold world creates cold hearts. Ooh, super exciting. And so yeah, there's 5 in total to collect, so I might end up just getting the one that's in Asda now, which is Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. So this is a vibe. It's just stunning, unless I see it for like a good price that looks like these on Vinted again. I'm annoyed now because where these are so stunning, I wish I kind of had the book that I'd already read on audio, but there just wasn't a need for it because I knew I most likely, although I really loved it, I think I gave it 5 stars or like a 4.5 stars, which is why I then was like, yes, immediately yes to all of these. I don't really reread books often, so I couldn't really justify buying a beautiful cover of a book that I've already read and probably wouldn't read again just to have the set. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, the next lot of books which are new, and then we'll go to the last lot of books which are ex-library, are these 4 here, which I got in Asda's literally this week, I want to say, and they're all new releases. So this one sounded like a really good comedy, like dry comedy, sort of slice of life, if you can say that. And this is Death and Other Occupational Hazards by Veronica Dupont, and this basically follows Death, who is a woman just like doing her 9 to 5 job. She takes a much needed holiday, but there seems to be someone going around murdering people that are not on her death list, and so she's making an attempt to try and catch this person, figure out what's going on and why they're targeting like certain people. And also she's having a run-in with her sister Life, who thinks this is all her doing this just to be spiteful, basically. It sounds like a lot of fun. I had read a more like literary, thought-provoking sort of concept similar to this called Mrs. Death by Selena Godden a good few years ago. So I love that concept of like death as a woman, or like as a concept personified. I just think this is going to be more of like a humorous take on it, and I'm really looking forward to figuring that out. I also picked up, oh, I didn't show you the undercover, I'm sorry. It looks kind of boring until you get to the spine, which has this nice shimmery green, and it's basically just a reflection of the spine with the dust jacket. Okay, so following on from that, I got Spellbound by Georgia Layton, and this is a feminist retelling of Sleeping Beauty. And basically the concept is we're following 3 women who kind of cultivate a story around the Sleeping Beauty archetype, but it's like, what if this figure never pricked her finger on the spindle. So it says on the back here, some of the Gulf townsfolk say they saw the magic bursting from the castle that day. On the mainland they watched as it swelled out of doorways, windows and chimneys, leaking from one aisle like the black ink pooling in the sky. So yeah, the whole idea is kind of like, what if beauty never went to sleep? Like, what happens next? And I'm looking forward to seeing what indeed happens next. And again, it's got this nice like beige background, but the excitement's on the spine. Up the latest Alexandria Warwick book, and that is The South Wind. I have the North Wind, but I don't think I own a copy of the, is it the West Wind? I believe they're all sort of not like standalone, set in the same universe. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like they're more like contained stories. I will read it from North Wind, like I'll read them in like publication order, but it seems that these are following different characters. This one in particular is inspired by Sleeping Beauty again, which is funny because Spellbound is also Sleeping Beauty, but also the Greek myth of Theseus and the Labyrinth and the Minotaur, which I love Greek mythology, so that is right up my street. But I don't want to read any more than that really, because I would rather like go into it more organically after reading like North Wind and kind of working through, especially if the characters are like interconnected. Lastly, for new books, I have another one that I think is supposed to be a little bit more of a comical approach. This is JC Lynn's For Whom the Bell Tolls, and look how stunning that is. Let's quickly rewind and see if there's anything under the dust jacket of Southwind, because I keep forgetting to look. Right, nope, just lovely purpley blue colour, again with a pretty foiled spine. These 4 books I paid full price. Well, it's not even really full price because it's Asda prices, but I do believe they were like £10 each, which is still much less than the RRP, not RIP, which is like £20 for this. This is probably not far behind, £16.99, £16.99, and this is probably what, 20 as well, 20. So I paid like £10 for each of these, which is much better price point than full price. So yeah, this just says the journey doesn't end here, death is just the beginning. Another death vibe, because I've got 2 Sleeping Beauty vibes and 2 death vibes. I didn't do that intentionally, it's just what was new that I saw that appealed to me. So this is from a BookTok sensation. I don't recognize the name JC Lynn, but I might recognize like the profile, if that makes sense. This is supposed to be a hotter than hell romantasy where love ignites in the unlikeliest of places, magic defies the rules, and the afterlife proves more exhilarating than anyone could ever imagine. It sounds like we're gonna have like a enemies to lovers romance between a demon general and our main character Lily, who has just arrived in the afterlife and is like trying to figure it all out by the sounds of things. Also, cross swords, I like that, that's so cool. Okay, we are nearly at the end of this video. I'm gonna whiz through the books that I took today to give a new home. Where We Belong by Anstey Harris seems to be a story about a mother and son who are unpacking the lies of the father husband and trying to figure life out, like their new life now. Miss Bradley's Ghost Species. This is one that I've particularly been interested in wanting to read for a while. It says, in an intimate portrayal of high concept big ideas, can we engineer ourselves out of a problem of our own making? It says, as more and more of us are waking up to the truth about our climate and our need to reverse the damage we have caused, Ghost Species is timely, poignant and reflective on what it means to be human on a personal and global scale. So I believe we are in this situation where the planet is like deaded. It's destroyed. There's billionaires that are being recruited and scientists to try and make the atmosphere clean and trying to figure out the climate change and rapidly stop it, but it's not having an effect. They're also trying to re-engineer all the damage that has already happened. So yeah, it sounds like we're having a situation where we're coming back into this like re-evolution of humans. There's going to be a first human being born in this new age. It sounds really cool, actually. Hopefully I enjoy it. which one is first. I think it might be this one. So it's the Nothing Girl and the Something Girl by Jodie Taylor. I feel like there might have been a third one as well, but these were the two that just weren't doing its rounds anymore. They were old and like dead stock. And yeah, I really don't know anything about these, but they are kind of whimsical, kind of magical. I think yeah, Jenny Dove's life is magically transformed by the appearance of Thomas, a mystical golden horse only she can see. Under his loving guidance, Jenny acquires a husband, the charming and chaotic Russell Checkland, together with an omnivorous donkey and the cat from hell. It just sounds really like whimsy and magical and strange. But apparently this author, I've not read anything by this author, I don't think, but she's hailed as a fairy tale author for adults, or this story at least is fairy tale for adults. Yeah, and I love the sound of that. So yeah, these two I shall hopefully enjoy. I got The Quickening by Rhiannon Ward. I know there's the Silvering or something, but this is, well, it's set as general fiction, but it's more like historical fiction, and it's about an infamous seance, a house burdened by grief, and a secret that can no longer stay buried. It sounds really good. Very atmospheric and gothic, which is right up my street. Then there is second to last, Sophia Khan and the Baby Blues. Have you ever been tempted to start again? Everybody's having babies at work. So I am not one of those people, but I thought this would be an interesting perspective to read, especially because I haven't had that experience. It might be an interesting one to see how everybody, I know this is fictional, but to see how different people respond to new life in their lives, right? So it says Sophia Khan is going about everything the wrong way. At least that's what her mother Menez thinks. Sophia is twice divorced, homeless, and worst of all, refusing to give up on a fostered baby girl. Sophia is just not behaving like a normal woman should. I think this is going to be brilliant, to be honest. Really impactful, and it's one of the quick reads, so it's pretty short as well. And lastly, I nearly passed up on this one, but then I just thought, let me have a little look. As a previous winner of the Pulitzer Prize, author of the Booker shortlisted, The Overstory. The Overstory is one that I recognise, but this is Richard Powers' Bewilderment, and the cover is very intriguing. It follows a boy who is very sensitive. He's struggling in life, but he's very gentle with animals and nature, and he just loves like exploring new things. His dad is struggling with him a little bit, but he's sort of trying to help his son apply to, you know, all the creative outlets, the educational outlets that he can, until one day, and this is the line that really got me, he's on the verge of being expelled from school for smashing his friend's face with a thermos. Oh, okay then, all right. And then it says, it gets a little bit more odd, right? It says, what can a father do when the only solution offered to his rare and troubled boy is to put him on psychoactive drugs? What can he say when his boy comes to him wanting an explanation for a world that is clearly in love with its own destruction? The only thing for it is to take the boy to other planets, all while fostering his son's desperate attempt to save this one. At the heart of Bewilderment lies the question, how can we tell our children the truth about this beautiful, imperiled planet? Are they literally going to a different planet? Like, I'm intrigued, right? And that, my friends, are the 23 books that I have recently acquired into my home library. My stack of books that I have welcomed with open arms and hope very much to enjoy. Have you yourselves read any of these books? Do you have any new releases that you're eagerly awaiting, eagerly anticipating? I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching. I shall catch you in another video soon. Bye.